we went together for on and off for about 8 years. And he asked me to marry him, and I wasn't ready. He had moved away from town, and I still had my young son and my family and my work, and he wanted to take me away from that. And I was afraid to move away. And then, when we did the Thanksgiving, I think around Thanksgiving, that special with the Partridge Family.
Oh, yeah.
And my son, he was married at the time. And he came to me and he said, I made a big mistake.
Oh.
And he said, I'm going to call you when I'm free. And he did. And then I asked him to marry me, and he wasn't ready.
Things that are worth your attention.
I'm just so grateful that you joined us.
It is a pleasure.
Welcome to Media Path. I'm Fritz Coleman.
And I'm Louise Palanker.
We're going to continue diving into a family legacy that we started a couple of weeks ago, the famous King family. This amazing, talented, multi-generational family that brought us today's guest, Tina Cole. She's the daughter of Yvonne King and musician Buddy Cole. Tina carved her own acting path out, becoming most famous for her role as Katie Miller Douglas on My Three Sons. We had her cousin Cam Clark on to teach us a little bit about the Kings, and we're going to drill down even further today with Tina's interesting career separate from her family's. Tina will be with us just a few seconds from now. Weezy, what do you have?
Well, this holiday season, Fritz, I watched the show that is all the rage, Arch Hockey Rivals in Love. The elevator pitch requires but a one-floor journey. Heated Rivalry is a 6-part HBO series based on a novel by Rachel Reed. It's steamy and compelling and the talk of the season. In the star-crossed lovers file, this is a pretty epic iteration. In the story, each of these hockey standouts have grown up in the spotlight of their talent, their family's expectations, and their city's pride, within which they have hidden their same-sex attractions. They both carry the burden of performance pressure and heightened attention compounded by a potentially shattering secret. But after some smoldering eye contact and a lingering touch or several, they become clandestinely intimate with the one person who understands their reality. Fans of the show are obsessed. Now, the intimacy is intimate. How do I put this, Fritz? There's a lot of thrusting and grunting.
Yay!
Now, I'm shy about watching heterosex scenes, and I just haven't attended enough orgies to get super comfortable with it. But I love the story, and just to give you an idea of how hot this show is, Fritz, I Googled Heated Rivalry this morning. The fan fiction and the fan art are flying. The memes are popping. And a Connecticut club called The Webster will be hosting a Heated Rivalry theme night during which attendees can watch the show on giant screens and hear pop queer anthems, throwbacks, and club bangers with a photo booth, themed drinks, and special giveaways, so I would book early. Heated Rivalry is on HBO.
So I haven't watched it yet, but I'm telling you, my news thread has blown up with information about this and the various actors. I have one question for you.
Yes.
Is there any sex with skates on?
Oh, wow. Good question. You know what they do? There's a lot of close-ups on their feet when there's a press conference, and they'll touch their feet. It's their little signal to each other.
Well, you know what? It sounds people are comparing it to Brokeback Mountain and the various,
Less horses.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There we go. All right. Well, I'm going to talk about a new documentary on Netflix called Cover Up. It's the career of Seymour Hersh, one of the bravest, most dogged investigative reporters in the history of American journalism. He's a Pulitzer Prize winner. He's been reporting for 60 years and is still on the case. Cy Hersh broke so many important stories having great historical significance. 1969, he broke the story of the My Lai massacre. He was the guy. The disturbing incident out of American platoon of soldiers in Vietnam that murdered an entire village of people, including women and babies. It led to the imprisonment of Lieutenant William Calley, and it helped to turn up the heat in the anti-war movement of the time. The American government tried desperately to keep the incident under wrap, but Hersh developed inside sources that helped blow it open and bringing it to the world's attention. He also broke surreal information on the CIA trying to build a Manchurian. I never heard this. This is crazy. He broke the story of the CIA trying to build a Manchurian candidate by feeding their subject LSD and trying to get him to do what was expected. Unbelievable. And other than Woodward and Bernstein, he was the reporter of record for the entire Watergate affair. He also broke the story about tortured Abu Ghraib. He was the only guy that got the inside track on that. He revealed details when the United States secretly installed fascist dictator Augusto Pinochet in Chile, which is kind of interesting and resonant in light of the Venezuelan weekend we just had. His latest work is looking into the mass killings by Israeli soldiers in Gaza. You learn Sy Hersh's passion for justice, and it came from him discussing his roots, being born of Jewish refugees from Lithuania and Poland. It's called Cover Up, the career of Sy Hersh. I'm a news junkie, and this was very meaningful to me on Netflix.
He also broke the truth behind JFK's private life, which a lot of people were not, fans of learning that. But, that was an interesting part of his story as well.
Yeah, he's the guy. He was all by himself.
Now, what you see is the real life Tina Cole adjusting her Zoom background.
Oh, there
which
I
is
am.
usually it's a professional art form.
No, that's right.
And she's on point. Look at her go. She's got flowers. She's got her book.
Nobody in
she's perfectly
Sacramento
fine.
has ever looked that good.
No, this is it.
Here's our lovely guest. She's an actress, a singer, a theater director, best known for her role as Katie Miller Douglas, Robbie's wife on My Three Sons, and lots of other stellar credits, and a lovely, personable person. She is. Tina Cole is with us. Hello, how are you, my dear? It's nice to talk to you.
I am very good. So nice to be with you. And Louise, I agree with you about watching even heterosexual sex is hard for me. I'd rather be doing it than watching it.
Yeah.
And it depends what company you're in at the time.
You know what's funny, Tina? I was watching an episode of My Three Sons to get myself readjusted for today. And when Chip is watching you and Robbie kiss, he says to Ernie, this is something I'd rather be doing than watching.
So we have to place you in show business history, Tina, on the giant redwood tree that is the King family tree. You're the daughter of Yvonne and
Yes.
Buddy Cole. Who were they, and where do they fit into the history?
Well, I'll start with my daddy. Buddy Cole was one of the most sought after pianist and organist musical directors in the 40s, 50s. He in 1964. First he was a musical director for Bing Crosby and Rosemary Clooney and Phil Harris,
Wow.
and he was in The Stars Born with Judy Garland and films with Doris Day and the top artists of the time. In 1964, he had recorded at 47 years old. He had recorded over 1,000 film tracks. And he had worked 8 hours on The Sound of Music. The big wedding scene, that big organ.
Oh,
That's my daddy.
Wow.
And my kitty cat just wanted to say
Oh, that's
hi.
fine. Hi,
Hello,
kitty.
there's Kelly too.
What
Who's
a
little
beauty.
boy. And so 8 hours, and I just found this out like 15 years ago. He'd worked 8 hours. He was getting ready to a Hollywood Palace with Phil Harris because they were going to Lake Tahoe to Harris Club for 2 weeks. And he passed away of a heart attack at 47 years old. And I didn't know about The Sound of Music. I love that movie. And I'd watch it and I think, oh, golly, that organ sounds just like my dad. And then I find out that it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your mom, Yvonne, was part of the original quartet of 4 family singers, right? Who kind
The
of
King Sisters
put
the
the
first,
group on the map.
yeah, the first female vocal group to ever sing in 4-part harmony.
Wow.
And they did a lot of they had a lot of hit records in the 30s and 40s. They did the Soundies. They did the what were the little short films, like they did Cuban Pete with Desi Arnaz and My Mother Danced with Buddy Ebsen, and I forget Sing Your Worries Away. And then they did a kind of revamp their sound, and they were nominated for one of the first ever Grammys for their album Imagination. And then they revamped again. I mean, they kept revamping. And in the 60s, my mom, we had moved to the Bay Area from Los Angeles, and my mom was kind of lonely, wanted to see her family. And she was asked to, if the King Sisters would do a benefit performance for our church building fund. And Mom said, oh, we've done that. You've had the King Sisters. I know. Why don't we do a show with the King Sisters and their families? And, I kind of went, scratched her head. And we created, I helped her with the costumes and the choreography. And the whole family came up to Oakland and we did a show. And we received a standing ovation. And my aunt said, oh, let's do it down in LA. And we did it for her church. And we had another standing ovation with a lot of show people in the audience, much bigger audience. And then my grandfather, who was one of the first student body presidents of Brigham Young Academy, was called by Brigham Young. They said, we want to build Cougar Stadium. Would you do another show? And we did. And they kinescoped it. And that's what my mother sold to ABC.
Wow.
That gave him the series, right? So was this group that all gathered?
The King family began in January of 1965.
Mm-hmm.
So you, in your book, you mentioned that you and your mom and your aunts and some of the husbands, Vino Ray and your dad, Buddy Cole, were really the only professionals. Did you find yourself coaching some of the younger cousins and the kiddies?
I actually sang with the little kiddies. Cam really hates to be. He didn't like me doing that. Because I could sound like a child.
Yeah.
And so I got to sing on their tracks, when we were pre-recording. We were so busy doing our own thing that, I didn't think about saying, oh, why don't you try it this way? Mm-hmm. I started as an actress long before the King family started.
Yeah. Could you talk for a moment about the classes that you took every summer? What were they training you to be a contract studio player?
Yeah.
And then the studio system sort of fell away during that period?
Yeah. So I was discovered by Warner Brothers executives and asked to be screen tested. It was a personality test, and all this tall, lanky man came walking on the set, and he said, we'd like you to meet Gary Cooper.
Oh, God.
And I didn't know who Gary Cooper was.
You were like
14.
You were 14, yeah.
I was 14. He was an old man. But they liked what they saw. And they asked me if I would study every summer at their workshops at the studio. And I did a month every summer for 4 years. And when Connie Stevens was put on suspension when she was doing Hawaiian Eye, they called me and they said, we'd like you. They called me on a Monday. I had just had my first job working as a receptionist in my boyfriend's father's optometrist's office, saving for a used Volkswagen, making $49 a week.
Yeah.
And they called on a Monday and they said, would you come down? And I said, well, I have a day off on Wednesday. I can come down then. And they called my mother. She said, no, you're getting on a plane tonight. I had to sing, which I'd never done solo before. I had to dance. I had to do a screen test with none other than Troy Donahue, who was, had just done Parish and A Summer Place. And he was like me having to do, with Brad Pitt or Ryan Reynolds or somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 weeks later, I was in Hawaii, the female lead in a television. It happened to be my favorite television series, Hawaiian Eye.
Oh, wow.
It was the first show ever shot in Hawaii, and we did the whole thing on location.
Wow.
That's how I started.
But you were immediately plunked into sort of grown-up showbiz, and you were this innocent kid. And talk about the scene where you're walking towards the camera between Robert Conrad and Troy Donahue. And what did they loved?
I was so green and naive, and they just loved to tease me constantly. And they both were on action. We're walking into the Hawaiian Eye office, and they both leaned into my ears and whispered, I want to F you. I don't think I'd ever heard that word. It was like, wow. I turned purple. It's right on action. And I turned purple. I got so flustered. I said, you can't use that word in front of me. Don't you ever talk like that.
How old were you at the time?
I was just 19.
Holy cow.
And I was, I just spent a year at BYU. I wanted to be a teacher. I never really, even though I was doing all this stuff, I still, that was my goal, was to be a wife and a mom and a teacher.
And you also, in addition to turning down Troy Donahue, you also found yourself in the presence of the Beatles.
Oh,
could you tell us
that was pretty
story?
exciting.
Yeah, tell us that story.
The Beatles, were with Capitol Records in '64. And I think it was Alan Livingston, his son was a hemophiliac. And so he wanted to do a fundraiser introducing the Beatles and having all the people meet them, and fundraiser for the Hemophiliac Association, and invited all of the Capitol Records people and their children. They had lemonade and cookies. It was a garden party. And what was their manager? Epstein.
Brian Epstein.
Brian. You have to be careful with that word. And came up to me and he said, the Beatles would like you to come to a party at their home in Bel Air. And they'll pick you up in a limousine. Give us your address. And I thought, I thought they were going to all be in the limousine to pick me up. It was so silly. The limousine showed up and I walked in, and there were just the Beatles and all these women, all these young girls and women of all ages and sizes and shapes, all pretty. And their manager for Capitol Records, Roy Gerber, was there, and he was a good friend of my family's. Mm-hmm. And he saw me walking into the foyer, and he said, looked at his list. He's, wait, you're not on this list. You can't be here. You got to go. He was like panicked that I was there. And I didn't understand that. And I looked, he was thinking my name was Tina King, mm-hmm. not Tina Cole. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, you're going to stay right here, and I'm going to get a security guard to stay with you. I was so crazy about John Lennon. I must have seen A Hard Day's Night 10 times. Mm-hmm. First thing he does, he comes sliding down the banister and throws himself into my arms and gives me a big kiss, which I was thrilled. And then Ringo comes up, and I had a kind of a ruffled blouse or dress, and he kept blowing the ruffles open. Oh, there's tiny tops. I had cleavage up to my collarbone at the time. And he kept trying to get the ruffles open. And then George, who was not my favorite, he was going to attend to me. But the security guard stayed with me the whole time. Somehow I ended up in the pool. I don't know, dressed, and George whisked me off to the upstairs balcony to mezzanine, whatever, to get me a towel and, dry me off. And I watched, and these girls would go into a room, and maybe 15 minutes later, they'd come out and they'd say, okay, I'll get my girlfriend now. And then she'd walk up and the girlfriend would go in. And it was this parade of these girls going in. I have to say that Paul was very gentlemanly. He sat in a straight back chair next to the console with the girl, but in the living room, and didn't move. But the others were like crazy. I went to the ladies' room, the powder room, to fix my makeup after, falling in the pool. And this very, very drunk, very sad young girl. It was like out of a Fellini movie, and the mascara is running down her face. And she looked at me and she said, you don't drink, do you? I said, no, I don't. She said, oh, you don't know how lucky you are. And she just, and the security guard took me home, and he said, you dodged a bullet. He said, all those women there, they had requested because they wanted to bed them. And, I think not drinking, made a difference. I didn't fall for the whole scene, like so many of the girls did. And, my family too, we had.
You had a whole family reputation riding on your young back.
Exactly.
Also, but also not just reputation, but like just ethics and, culture and, who you are in the world. And so that's just.
I was a good girl.
Yeah, you were good.
Let me and what happened, Tina? That's what we want to. No, I'm just kidding. Let me ask you a question. When you're part of a multi-generational professional family. 3 generations of entertainers. Was there pressure that you continue the legacy? But I mean, what I'm saying is, if you wanted to, could you have become like a plumber or a fashion designer or anything you wanted? Or did the family sort of gently but firmly steer you into show business?
We loved it. I think that's the main thing. All of us that did it, although we do have a dentist, and we had, what else? What did my oldest cousin, Billy, I meant something in insurance or medical something. Mm-hmm. And so those that didn't want to, one became a teacher and a writer. So the people that didn't feel comfortable, everybody was thrown in it. Nobody really had any lessons. I mean, the girls had some ballet lessons, when they were little. And the girls took to it more than the boys did. So it wasn't expected for us to stay in show business. But if we wanted to, it kind of opened up paths for us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The thing is, we tease it, and Cam might have mentioned this, raised by wolves. We were never given any. The King sisters were always there. They were always rehearsing. We were all around the cousins, and we kind of learned everything by osmosis, but we were never instructed in anything. And I tell you I don't know if you read it in the book, but after I did Sunny Day in Hawaiian Eye, I guess my character was, I sang in that show. And here comes my kitty cat again, baby.
That's okay. What's the cat's name?
You gotta move.
Who's this? Oh, those
Jelly
eyes.
2. He's Jelly 2.
Hi, Jelly 2. How are you? Hi, sweetheart. Beautiful eyes.
He wants to be with me. He's like a dog. He wants to be right on everything. Anyway, I was asked to be the opening act for Rowan and Martin.
Right, in
Australia.
Yeah.
I had never done anything like that. My mother said, oh, sure, she could do it. I'll write a show for her. I went up to Northern California where she lived, and she put a show together. She sewed me costumes. And I flew down to LA. My aunt Cam's mom took me to the airport, and she said, I'm flying to Australia to do a show. I've got my music, in a bag, and I'd never rehearsed an orchestra. I'm getting on a plane with Martin and Rowan, and I know nothing. And besides that, I'm nearsighted. I'm blind, so I can barely see. And Alice says, now you've got your tip money and all that. And I said, what's tip? She looked, I said, how much money do you have? And I said, $6.
Wow.
No one said, Tina, this is what's going to happen when you travel internationally.
How old were you at this time? 19. Oh, my.
I was just on Hawaiian Eye. And so she looked in her wallet. She only had $20. She had a $20 bill, and she handed it to me. She said, okay, well, this will have to do. And there was never any instruction. They just said, okay, you go here, you go there, and now you're going to walk in, you're going to pony in. Although in our TV show, I must say, we were the most fortunate people. I'm sure Cam talked about it. Martin Bro and Dee Dee Woods they were our choreographer and director. They had just done A Sound of Music and Chitty Bang Bang and Mary Poppins. So we had the best. Bob Mackey had never done a show on his own, and ours was his first show that he designed the costumes for. We were surrounded by, the best in the business. So we learned quickly. They really worked with us. And then we started taking more lessons and thinking, let's work on this a little bit, on our skills, which those of us that wanted to stay in the business did.
Were you the first person in the King family that carved out their own notoriety in show business, independent of the family?
Well, besides King Sisters and Albino, but the older, but in my generation, yes, because at 14, I started, and at 19, I was the the female lead in a big television show.
So you
So,
were,
Amazing.
you know, no one else, they were all in school, but I'm also the oldest girl. So
right.
that first generation is gone, except for one in-law. I am really the matriarch now of the family.
Yeah, quite an honor.
Yeah,
So
it is.
You actually began appearing on My Three Sons in season 4, episode 22, playing a girl named Ina.
Ina. Ina was a tomboy.
Oh, Ina was a tomboy, okay. But your early appearances actually led to you being cast as Katie. Tell us that story.
Yeah, I played Ina, who was a friend of Robbie's, but I worked on cars, and you know, and I could do woodwork and things like that. Ernie was not adopted yet; he was just a neighbor, and we didn't want the Douglases to have to move to Hawaii, so we rigged the house so that it wouldn't sell. The next one I played a hippie, a girl in music in orchestra with Robbie, and I invited him to a coffee house.
Oh,
and we were beatniks, and I show up not in my school clothes, but as a beatnik, and you know we were snapping instead of clapping, one of those.
Crazy, man.
And yeah, exactly. And the last one I actually played a girlfriend, and we were babysitting for a couple friends of Robbie's, and we pretended like we were married, and we were trying to take care of this baby, and it ends up in this huge fight, and I storm out. I think that's what they used for my screen test for Katie. I got a call from Ed Hartman, our producer, one night at home. I had stopped acting because I was working full time with the King family and the 4 King cousins. And I get this call, and he said, "Why haven't we seen you?" And I said, "Seen me for what?" He said, "Well, we've been looking for, we've tested we've auditioned over 2,000 girls. And we're looking for an actress to play the wife of Robbie, the oldest son. And we've screen tested like 20 girls, and would you come in and talk to us?" I didn't know that they had already seen that, or they had looked at that show. I went in, and usually an interview is maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, at the most. I was with Fred DeCordova, our director. This is 5 years before he left to do Johnny Carson. And I was in there for 40 minutes talking about all the nuances of this character and bringing a female into an all-male cast, and how I need to endear people. She had to endear people in the audience. And because people, were very dedicated to their shows, and they didn't like change. So then I was asked to go into Ed Hartman's office, and I was there for another 20 or 30 minutes. And then they took me into another room, and there was Fred McMurray and June. So that I had to be interviewed by all of them. And I think they were just saying, "Okay, this is the one we want. What do you think?" Okay. I left with my sides. I was going to the elevator I thought I was going to have to do a screen test. And our casting director came running after me and said, "Wait, where are you going? You didn't sign the contract." I said, "What?" "Well, you got the part. We start in a week and a half."
Oh my goodness.
My gosh.
So it's just everyone had to sign off on you, and they did.
It was just in a week and a half. I'm, the female in this all male family.
Yeah. Fred McMurray was like the classic American father. He reminded me of so many of my father's friends, pipe smoking guys that seemed normal. But then years later, I saw him in Double Indemnity, and I realized what a great actor he was, because he was a dark dude in that movie. And I thought,
he
wow,
played some good
how did they
bad
get
guys.
Yeah, he really did. And how did he get from Double Indemnity into My Three Sons, which was
it was a good financial deal. Let me tell you.
I guess
free
it was.
method.
Yeah.
But so this is kind of a funny story. He had done Double Indemnity, and he then started all these Disney, like the Nutty Professor, and all those, and then My Three Sons, and so he was really becoming known as a family guy. And he got the opportunity. Do you remember The Apartment? Jack Lemmon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was the
He was
boss.
the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy in that. Rotten. He and June took their twin girls to Disneyland
Mm-hmm.
after that came out. And he saw this woman put her child, in a place and then walk up. She said, "Mr. McMurray, I took my child," it was like 6, "to see you in the apartment, because you were in it." And she hauled off and belted him with her purse.
Wow.
But I will never watch another one of your films, and stormed off.
Isn't that wacky? And I hear that from
Isn't
others. When you hear it from other stars where they think you are the person that you portray on television, it's very scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like you've signed a
Well, he
contract. with them.
realized that he had really kind of made he really needed to stay in that genre.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I loved him, just adored him so much. He could say more with the lift of one eyebrow than some actors did there with their whole body.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
that's very true. So while we're on the subject of My Three Sons, we
Yeah.
have a little game called My Three Sons Trivia. And I know you're going to score very high.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, because I know it's 12 seasons long. You come in season 8, so hopefully our questions.
And before you do this, I want to just set something up.
Sure.
Because this show had a great history. The first 5 seasons on ABC were in black and white. Then it moved over to CBS and became color for the remainder of its history, 1960 to 1972, which was unbelievable. But that was at a big transition phase in American television history, and they were right there on the forefront of it. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, and so was the King family. In fact, it
Yep.
the transition to color impacted the King family and my
Oh.
son.
Yep.
Yes. And it was interesting. We lived in the valley. I lived right off of Laurel Canyon.
Mm-hmm.
And the history of Laurel Canyon in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
And the general store and the, the Mama's Papas and the, Mom Castor and the Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Beach Boys, all hanging out in Laurel Canyon.
Sure.
Well, we did too.
Yeah.
But our paths it was like parallel
Parallel.
lanes.
Yeah.
They were the future and people were trying to cling to.
They had different cocktail parties than you did.
Yes.
They sure did.
It was an interesting time. And if you think about Sunset Strip, it was like fancy people going out to dinner or staying at hotels, and then hippies going down to the whiskey and the other, and all sort of just parallel lines, like looking at each
And
other.
I was like a pseudo hippie. I wanted to hang out at the whiskey.
oh yeah, you were a pseudo beatnik.
Yes.
I'm sure you had some poetry slam that you wanted to throw down, but all right, we're going to do a little My Three Sons trivia, and then we're going to talk about your love affair with real life, which as a kid I did not know, and I don't know if the fans knew, that you and Don were really in love in real life, which I think is so beautiful. All right, little My Three Sons trivia. Number 1, how did William Frawley feel about William Demarest?
Ooh.
Don't be afraid to say anything.
Yeah, you know what? I really don't know. He never talked about it to me. I think that Frawley probably resented Demarest more. Frawley was so removed from that I don't think there was even a thought about it.
Well, you may have just missed the window, but apparently, I mean, you can ask Stan and Barry, but apparently they hated each other. It was a bill off. And William Frawley was let go because I guess he was just a little too, his health was a little too tenuous.
Well, he was a drunk.
Right.
And I mean, the boys would have, as you know, would have to go and, sober him up after lunch because he drank his lunch.
Was this after My Love Lucy or before?
After.
It was after.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In fact, the young boys loved Frawley.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was like an uncle. He would take them to the beach. He'd buy them surfboards. He'd take them to the ball games. And he had them help him do pranks on Vivian Vance across the lot. And they just adored him. They were grown up by the time Demarest came along. And I didn't know, I knew that Vivian Vance and Frawley hated each other. I didn't know about Demarest. I can't imagine him hating a fly. He was so sweet. I didn't care for Frawley, but as a young girl, he was gross. He was crude,
Okay.
and Demarest was just sweet,
And he had
crusty on the outside, but just a gooey
and
center.
Demarest had quite a career in Preston Sturgis comedies ahead of that, and he was already famous.
Oh, yeah. He told me that he had made and lost 3 fortunes.
Wow.
He had been a boxer, a promoter, a vaudevillian, an agent, an actor. He had all these careers, and he just kept going. He just kept reinventing himself.
He was really funny in My Three Sons.
Oh, he was adorable.
Yeah.
He was just adorable. I loved him to death. And I think, maybe they needed Frawley with the young boys, but they needed Demarest as they were growing up. I think that it was a good choice, although the studio said we cannot insure Frawley. So you gotta let him go.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Demarest wasn't involved in that.
Yeah.
They had to find someone to fill Frawley's shoes. I think they did a good job with it.
I think they did a great job with Cat.
All right, here's number 2. In TV Guide's 2004 list of TV's 50 greatest dads, what number was Steve Douglas ranked?
Oh my goodness. I'd say he's got to be number 2.
Close.
Like close?
He was number 7.
Oh,
Which ain't bad.
Pretty good. You got
top
Ward
50.
Cleaver.
he's
Yeah.
up there.
You got
So who was number 1?
probably Bill Cosby before we knew what we know, right?
Yeah, I had a story about that one too.
I know. And you know what, Tina? We have the same story.
Really?
Yeah, that happened to me too. But I didn't drink cappuccinos. I didn't drink coffee at that time, and I do
And I
drink
didn't
coffee
drink
now.
green.
Oh, now you got to tell us. You guys
All right.
have this thread. Go.
All right. Well, okay.
Let Tina go,
we'll
and then you
bookmark
go.
this. Tina, you tell yours. Yours is crazy. Oh my God.
I get a call in the middle, like dinner time, and a man says, Tina, this is Bill Cosby. And I went, yeah, right. And he was doing I Spy at the time. And, he had done all of his comedian stuff. I mean, he was big.
Huge.
And I said, no, yeah, right. Who is this? Bill Cosby. And I said, no. Okay, John, stop this. I know, He said, no, this is really Bill Cosby. And I said, the Bill Cosby. And he said, I've watched, your work, and you've got good timing. I think you're a really good comedian. And I'm going to do I want to do a radio show, like a superhero, and I need kind of a Lois Lane sidekick. And I'd love for you to come talk to me about it. And meet me at the studio. We set it up. I went to the set. He walked me over to his suite. He had a permanent suite on the lot. And what was interesting, there was no script. There was no prospectus, no nothing. It's just, he said, okay, well, what if I said, okay, let's go in the car, let's get those guys or something. What would you say? Well, I had no improv experience at all. And I was, just kind of new at this whole thing. And I giggled and I fussed and I hemmed and hawed, and I couldn't come up with, I said, well, I don't know. What do you want? And he said, you got to just give me something. Well, I couldn't. And I was so embarrassed. And then he'd get a call to go back to the set and do a scene, come back. I was there for almost 3 hours in his suite. Finally, he said, maybe you need to loosen up a little. Why you want me to fix your drink?
Oh, Lord, here we go.
I don't drink.
Good for you.
And eventually he said, I said, look, I can't, I feel like I'm really wasting your time. If you come up with a script, call me and give me a chance, because I can do anything if I have a script and I know what character you want. And I left. I was haunted my entire life after that I have dreams about it that I just, I wasted this big star's time, and I was
No, you saved yourself is what you did.
but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he was coming to Sacramento, where I live, to do a show. And I called a girlfriend. I said, I think I need to do this. I want to go see the show, and I want to go backstage, and I need to tell him. You probably don't even remember me, but I have been haunted by this for years. And I just want to say that I'm sorry that I wasted your time and blah, blah, blah. Well, I couldn't get anybody to go with me, and I didn't go. The next day it came out what he had done.
The next day.
The very next day. It was like, I thought, there's no way. That can't be true. But again, I was saved because I didn't drink. I mean, I can't, with Troy Donahue, same thing. I didn't drink.
And then it's,
when
like
the bellman gives him the key to my room, and in the middle of the night, he's climbing in bed with me.
Wait a minute. How does that happen?
Yeah. Who gave the bellman?
Because he was a big deal.
And he must have paid the bellman or something to do.
Troy did that?
He did. Oh yeah, and I just kind of looked at him. What are you doing? Get out of here! And he did.
I'm shocked because isn't Troy Donahue gay? I thought he was gay.
No, Troy. You're thinking of Tab Hunter.
Oh,
Tab
that's
Hunter
right.
Brothers.
Troy also had
Drinking
Henry
problems.
Wilson as his agent, and he had to do things for him that he didn't want to do. I don't believe he was really gay.
Oh no, Troy Donahue was not gay. It's Tab Hunter was gay.
Yeah, Tab was for sure.
Yeah.
But with Henry Wilson, you had to do certain things. And Rock Hudson. I mean, he had that whole stable of handsome, gorgeous gay men.
Yes, he did. But
yeah, but again, because I didn't drink, I with the Beatles, with the I've got several incidents in my book about that I didn't. That's I'm sure saved me many times.
And what I would say,
my Cam made me watch the documentary on Bill.
Oh, he did.
And the whole time he's going like this. See, that could have been you.
And the whole time, we're haunted by the way we weren't who someone needed us to be. You don't know who they needed you to be. Like, let yourself go. You don't know what their story is. You don't know what their agenda was. Your intention was to do well, and he was asking you to do something you weren't prepared to do. You have to let it go.
Did that happen to you?
What happened to me was I'm in radio, and I was interviewing him for a movie called Ghost Dad, and I go in there. Right, you seen Ghost Dad? Raph is laughing because it's his favorite movie.
Oh.
No, I'm teasing. Ghost Dad. It's a suite, Tina. And a lot of times we would interview celebrities in a hotel suite that would be rented for the day so that the press could come in and out.
Yeah.
So no big deal. But when the news came out, I remembered being asked repeatedly if I wanted a cappuccino and why I didn't want a cappuccino, and that it was really good and I would really like it. The memory flooded back of like, why are you repeating? At that time, I didn't drink coffee. And you can't talk someone into drinking coffee who doesn't drink coffee.
No.
But it was asked several times. And I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
you did dodge a bullet.
I think we both did.
To me, that's the greatest fall from grace in the history of show business.
I think so too.
So many people
he
were
had
like that.
elevated the Black community.
Yes. And they loved him. And I've talked about this. My daughter's in the psychology business. I've talked to her about what is that? This guy, you mentioned it yourself. When I Spy was out, he was one of the biggest stars in the United States. He could have had lines of women around the block that would have done anything he wanted. What was this power trip? This drugging women and rendering them unconscious before he could do it. I'll never understand that.
I don't either. Because almost anybody would have anyway.
Yeah, no, sure, yeah.
I'm sure it's like some sort of deep-seated psychological need for control or power over another person to where they have no agency, and you're going to do what
or
you
some
want.
mommy issues that we'll never know.
Well,
insecurity.
We just can't know. But we're going to move on. We're going to turn the hard left corner to number 3 on my 3 cents trip.
Okay, I know we get a little sidetracked.
Thanks for coming along down the media path, and however you have found your way to us, we would love for you to like and subscribe and give us a nice review, because as creators, it is our appointed duty to ask you to do that. You may also want to find us on Instagram and Blue Sky, where we are at Media Path Pod, and on Facebook, where our show page is Media Path Podcast, and our Facebook group is Media Path with Fritz and Wheezy Podcast Community. If you are listening to our show, we are also a video podcast on YouTube at Media Path Podcast. You can write to us at mediapathpodcast@gmail.com. My TikTok is Louise Palanker, where I post behind-the-scenes peeks and clips from the show. And Fritz's TikTok is Fritz Coleman Comedy. He posts stand-up clips and popular dance crazes. Our website is mediapathpodcast.com. There you can binge episodes and our spicy newsletter. Thank you so much. On with the rest of the show. Who was the only son to be on the show for all 12 seasons?
Oh, Stanley.
Of course, it was Stan. Yes.
Yeah.
Chip.
Yeah, he was. I think he was the first one cast.
And what a delightful guy.
Oh, isn't he the sweetest?
A dream. Yeah.
I loved those boys. I still do.
Mm-hmm.
Their age arc, it's got to be difficult for the writers to write the age arc, 12 years of growth out of being kids. That's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Well, when they ran out of things to do, they would have someone get married. So Chip, like, you're 17. Are you getting married?
Exactly.
So Ernie, like, when you turn 16, we're going to marry you. It's Laura Ingalls Wilder or something.
But Fred Silverman got in the way.
You may have answered this one, but I'm going to ask it to you again because maybe you'll phrase it in a different way. Producers cast Miss Tina Cole as Katie after combing through their earlier episodes and finding guest spots in which she played characters dating which son?
Robbie?
Yeah. So you dated always the same son in the
Yes.
history? Oh, okay.
It was always
because of the age.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
And we were a year apart in age. And Tim was, the older son in the beginning, and Meredith McCrae was his high school sweetheart. And then when they let him go, that's how they did. They got him married and left the show. What I thought was odd is that they never talked about him.
Right. Well, in Happy Days, they never talk about Chuck. So I think they do talk about those siblings, just not on camera. That's what I'd like to believe. They never really forgot about.
The boys remained friends for a long time.
Oh, yeah. No, he was.
Are you still friends? Is anybody still alive, or have you?
Oh, yeah. The Livingston boys.
Yeah, the Livingstons we've had on.
Stanley and Barry, and then Dawn Lynn, who played Dodie. She's a dear heart, just the sweetest woman. She's had some real health battles. She was in a coma 2 years ago for a couple months, and after brain surgery, and she's been fighting to come back ever since.
What a talented little girl.
Do you do signing events with the Livingstons?
I do. In fact, the last one I did, Dawn, it was Stanley Barry and Dawn Lynn joined us. And it was the first time that she'd been out. She was still in a wheelchair and still couldn't, talk easily. But she's, she has that fight, and she's, I want to do it. I'll do it. And she's just, I love her to death.
And
Just
because
a
My Three
sweet,
Sons is
lovely
finding
woman.
a new audience on streaming now, you're probably having, this is like the third or fourth generation of fans.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I know. And what's amazing to me is that over these years, I mean, that show it's 65 years this year, or this last year was 65 years that we were on. We've never been off the air. We haven't been paid for 40 years.
Right.
But they didn't do residuals after that.
All right, 2 more questions. I love this question because when I watched the show as a child, I lived in Buffalo, New York. When I watch the show now, you're seeing all these sort of California landmarks, you're recognizing things. And I recognized this building and couldn't figure out what it was till I came upon this question. The exterior of the aircraft company where Steve and Robbie worked may look familiar to LA viewers because it is actually what building?
I think it's, did they do the exteriors at Lockheed?
Close.
Or was it
It's Burbank, Bob Hope
Well,
Airport.
that was Lockheed at the time.
That's right.
It wasn't Burbank Airport
Lockheed,
at the time. Yeah.
Burbank. It's now Bob Hope, but it was Lockheed at the time.
Oh, you got it right then. Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's why the building looks familiar. All right, you get
All right.
I got one.
You got it. You're
Oh,
you got
no,
it.
it's fun.
You're on the
But
board.
you're having memories about it, even if you don't remember it immediately. That's okay. Tina Cole, being you, and Don Grady fell in love in real life. Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any recollection of this man?
He, I didn't know that he almost quit because they were going to cast me. I had no idea. It was, I know it was very awkward. The first few scenes that we had to do with around McMurray was all of us getting to know each other, falling in love, the wedding, all that had to be done in the first month. And so we were constantly making out and necking, and everybody's like, chaos is all around us, all over the house. And we're just ignoring everybody, just so gooey over each other. And we couldn't kiss, we couldn't bump noses. And I mean, we just, it was awkward. And Dakota finally said, cut. Okay. So we are going to, oops. It's my alarm. He said, told everybody, so we're going to go do another scene. And he took us aside. He said, okay, you guys have to look like you like each other. He said, I want you to go back in the soundstage and practice kissing for a half an hour, which we did. And so we could figure out how to do it. And
2 weeks later,
I didn't find out for 2 years when we were singing together and doing I don't know, maybe it was a fundraiser or something, or I don't know, something that we were doing, and we said, oh, let's sing. And we just kind of looked at each other. It was like, whoa, it was so powerful. And then he told me about how he really fought against me.
oh,
But we went together for on and off for about 8 years. And he asked me to marry him, and I wasn't ready. He had moved away from town, and I still had my young son and my family and my work, and he wanted to take me away from that. And I was afraid to move away. And then, when we did the Thanksgiving, I think around Thanksgiving, that special with the Partridge Family.
Oh, yeah.
And my son, he was married at the time. And he came to me and he said, I made a big mistake.
Oh.
And he said, I'm going to call you when I'm free. And he did. And then I asked him to marry me, and he wasn't ready.
Oh, wow.
So,
but that's not usually the way the men do it. The men say, don't worry, I'm going to get a divorce immediately. And they never do. And they lie to you.
No, we were really, he was the most genuinely nice, kind, creative, fun. He could do anything. He cared so much about everything, about people. He was just, we had more fun together. We danced all the time. And he loved my son, and my son loved him. I mean, it was, I don't know why we just were star-crossed.
I mean, I think that's the way it was meant to be somehow.
Yeah.
And in other lifetime, maybe you'll connect, and maybe you have in previous lifetimes,
Yeah.
if you believe in that.
About 3 weeks before he passed away, I had emailed him, and he said, look, there's anything I have to tell you would not do either of us any good. And he said, I just want you to know that you set the bar very high.
Oh, wow. Man.
Oh, my gosh.
Which was, that stayed with me. Makes me want to
Oh, it's okay.
cry today.
That's lovely.
Sorry.
Oh,
What I
no.
love was that he said to you and saw you the way you are and the way you deserve to be seen. And that was very powerful.
Remember that part in the book?
Yeah.
It just, my husband at the time had really told me how disgustingly ugly I was.
Which is
Oh,
so
my.
sick and not true. And it just,
But I didn't know, and so I would put eyelashes on to go get the mail.
oh my goodness.
I would go to the makeup room at 6 a.m. with full makeup because I didn't want, and we were at a convention in New York or somewhere, and I had ordered an iron and an ironing board, and I'd just taken a shower. I had no makeup on, and my hair was in a towel. There was a knock at the door. I thought it was the iron, and it was Dawn. And he literally gasped. And he went, he said, "You are so beautiful.
Oh.
You look like a wife and a mother and a lover."
Oh.
And all that, that angst and that whatever just melted. How could you not fall in love with that?
You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Let's change the subject because we don't want any weeping on our
Don't
podcast.
cry
We
anymore.
love Don Grady, and you guys were, you were both so musical and so engaging. And I did not know as a kid that you were in love in real life, but I love knowing that you were.
Oh, I like that. And, I think the producers knew a lot more than we did.
Mm-hmm.
So you did 8 episodes of Hawaiian Eye, and you had one of the great names in show business, Sunny Day, which I thought would be a great name for a weatherman.
Oh.
I couldn't believe when they named me that. I thought that was the dumbest name. And they said, "No, you remind us of a young Doris Day, and you've got this sunny personality."
What was the name they gave Kelly Lang when she was in a helicopter?
Dawn O'Day. They had 2 helicopter. They had 2 helicopter reporters, and she was on in the morning, so they called her Dawn O'Day, and she had to wear a silver lame jumpsuit. And then the woman that did the helicopter reporting at night was called Eve O'Day. And she honestly, I know it's just
what station?
It was Channel 7. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Men are so immature. They just
Yeah.
can't deal with women actually doing things. Wait, if you're going to do a thing, you have to be sexy and lame.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, so we have one more game, and it's called IMDb Roulette. And what we do is we spin the wheel, and we remind you of some of your IMDb credits, and you tell us what you can remember. Now you've already touched on the first one, Hawaiian Eye. You played Sunny Day, and they filmed some interiors locally, right? But you guys were in Hawaii together for
the shows that most of the shows I did were all shot on location. We did the other shows were the rest of the series was done with stock shots. They'd go over and film them walking in and out and driving down the street and going to the beach. But they did all of ours on location, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, so that must have just been very exciting. And
who is the character Sunny Day? Describe her personality.
Here he is.
So it was typecasting.
It wasn't far from Katie.
We love that.
Yeah.
But she was also a singer. She sang in the nightclub.
Yeah, now that's interesting. Yeah. Did you sing a song every week or a couple of songs every week?
I sang like Cricket did, like Connie Stevens did. I sang in the Shell Bar. Again, that was my first ever singing.
Wow.
And the thing is, the director didn't say, "Okay, I want you to go here, look here, do this." They just stuck me on the stage and said, "Okay, sing to the playback." I didn't know what I was doing.
You did it.
But I guess they liked it.
Yes. Adorable. Fritz, you've got number 2.
How about who you played on the Lucy show?
I know I was a college student.
That's right. You were a college girl. That's all we want to know about.
Sorority girl.
So what happened? Tell us what you learned about Lucy.
It was so short. It was just a brief little scene, but it was fun to play with her. But Lucy was all business. And, you just go in, you rehearse and you do it, and then she's gone. So it was exciting to be on there. I was really nervous. I was really scared. And she was just very professional, and Vivian was there too. And it was just a very, very short time, but it was exciting to be on something else, doing something else.
Yeah.
I ended up in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Playing Ethel with a Lucy impersonator for 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I did that up here, and that was really fun.
And what did you do?
Ethel was very difficult to play. Yeah. You wouldn't have known Ethel without Lucy, but I really enjoyed that because that was a hard.
Was this a stage show or a cabaret show, or what kind of a presentation?
Cabaret.
Was it?
Well, we did dinner theater, and we did conventions and things like that.
But
yeah, it was
Ethel
really
is kind
fun.
of like hitting a harmony note under Lucy, which
exactly.
you grew up doing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. That we had a conveyor belt. We did the chocolate. We did all that, and it was all lip sunk
How
to the original
fun.
tracks.
Oh, that's funny.
Hilarious.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
And we did Tootsie Rolls for the
did Tootsie
chocolate.
Rolls.
And, we'd dump our costumes out after the show, and all the Tootsie Rolls would fall out. I'd go home and get undressed, and there'd be Tootsie Rolls in my bra.
I was going to ask, did you ever roll over a Tootsie Roll in bed and wonder what did I do during the night?
Well, there they are.
What all went on? All right, number 3, To Rome with Love, where you play Katie Miller Douglas. So was that a kind of cross-promotional thing?
It was, and I barely even remember it because we didn't get to go anywhere. We just walked across the lot to the other set.
And who's in To Rome with Love?
That was John Forsythe.
Oh.
And the big actors that, they were able to do it because of the McMurray method, the way Fred shot all of his scenes and then everybody else had to pick up afterwards. So it was Brian Keith, Henry Fonda was Smith Family, and John Forsythe was Rome with Love.
Oh.
And though they all had that same wonderful deal that Fred McMurray started.
So that's how they went about.
I don't even remember the show much. It was just.
Was that a show or a movie?
It was a show.
No, it was a TV show. It was a series.
Oh, okay.
That's the offer they were making then to movie stars, right? To get them to come home and do a TV series. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. You can work 2 months and make this much money.
Yeah.
And have all this other time to do anything you want.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Good deal.
1 out of 12. 1 out of 12.
Yeah.
What did you do on that show?
That was fun. I played an airline ticket lady.
Do you remember her name? For $5 extra, Jody Drake.
No, what was it?
Jody Drake.
Oh, Jody or Joni?
Jody.
Jody, J-O-D-Y.
Jody.
She sounds like a
criminal. And Milner had a little. Was it Milner, right?
Oh, yeah. Martin Milner, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he kind of had a little crush on her.
Oh.
And I was hoping that maybe that would lead to something, another show or something, but it didn't.
It didn't.
Yeah, well, he did Route 66 after that, right? Is that right? Is that right,
was it before or after?
I think before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But we'd have to look it up.
Was there anything in that Corvette?
Yeah. Where they went across the country.
All right, so this one was interesting. I'd love to hear more about Eleanor and Franklin.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was, they needed some singers. They needed like King Sisters or the Andrew Sisters. And so we got to sing, some of the great old 40s songs. And, that was it. That was just, we were the entertainment for one of the big fundraiser or balls or whatever.
Okay.
And that was just fun. Yeah. It was fun to do that. The one thing I don't know. Oh, you got more questions?
No, that's the extent of the.
The one that was crazy that most people don't know is, I was Raquel Welch's voice in her first special.
Yes.
Wow.
Because she wasn't really pulling it off, right? So you sang.
The director said, I need help. And he said, we had just done the Barbara McNair show, the Cousins. Mm-hmm. And he said, I got to air this thing tomorrow night and I can't. He said, would you sneak come into the sound, recording studio with me? And all night we had to watch her sing and I had to match her.
Oh. Looping.
But my voice didn't match. She had a much deeper, kind of huskier voice, but it was the range. She sang up where I did.
Yeah.
Except there was one low note I couldn't hit, and my sister sang the low note.
Oh.
But nobody cared about her voice. That was the
sang
sad thing.
the background.
Yeah.
But that was really bizarre.
Mm.
Well, I want to close out by asking you about your ghost.
Oh.
Are you willing to talk about that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I lived in Sherman Oaks in the canyons, very secluded.
That's exactly where we are right now, Sherman Oaks in the canyons.
Right.
Are you where? I was on Dixie Canyon.
Beverly
Oh, okay.
Glen.
We're a little higher up. We're closer to Mulholland. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was about a half a mile maybe from Mulholland on
Dixie
the
Canyon.
valley side.
Yeah. It sounded like when you described the house, I was thinking, yeah, it sounds like Dixie Canyon. Beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's most wonderful. It looked like Rumpelstiltskin's cottage. It was wonderful and very secluded. And when my husband and I separated, it was odd because we were sitting at the dining table with his best friend and my best friend. We're having dinner, and all of a sudden, three of us went, "Did you see that?" And it was it was nighttime. It was a little white ball of light with a little tail, and it just went zip right by. Oh, there come here, baby, come here. And we all followed it, and my son was just 3 years old, and he was in his room playing at the back of the house, and he all of a sudden came running in, and he sat on my lap and didn't say anything, but just, it was like something scared him. And we all noticed it. That was my first sighting. And I was living alone now. I was just with my son in this, very secluded house. No window coverings or anything, just the forest. And I would hear padding on my carpet, and I would feel someone looking down at me in the bed. And I remember getting very scared, and I'd reach over and turn on the light real fast, and there would be nobody there. And the piano, the keys would tinkle, but my cat was laying on the foot of my bed. Mm-hmm. Pictures would fall, little things like that. Not real mischievous, but not scary really, but it was concerning. People would come over. Like one friend had a girlfriend who was a songwriter. We were both gone, and the songwriter was taking care of the house. And she had all kinds of experiences with it. That she actually wrote a song about him. I spent every time I went to the Renaissance Pleasure Fair or something, I would talk to tarot readers or palm readers or psychics, wanting to know what this entity was. And every single one of them, it didn't matter where, and I wouldn't tell them who I was or about me. They said was my uncle. And they said that when my father passed away, when I was 21, there was a problem with the will, and it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. And so I was very upset about it. And she said, oh, and every single one of these people said, oh, we see it's your dad, and he's opening his wallet, he's pulling out his pockets, showing us that there was nothing there. You have not let him pass. And so he has, because he couldn't be in another realm to be able to take care of you when you were alone, he asked my uncle, who had helped raise me until I was about 4 or 5, he had died early, and he had gone beyond, and it was my uncle that my dad had asked to watch over me.
So do you mean Buddy's brother?
Buddy, no, his brother-in-law.
His brother-in-law, Jim. Okay.
His younger sister's husband, who had died quite early, that I loved. And they said, talk to him, let him know you're okay. And so when I would hear that, and he'd be looking at me, I'd say, thank you, Uncle Jim. And it would go away. What was interesting is I married Beverly Garland's stepson. Mm-hmm. So she became my real stepmother-in-law. He didn't believe in the ghost. And the night we were getting married at a surprise Christmas party at my home, he had gone out the night before to the wood to get some wood to bring it in. And as he passed by one of the trees, he said he was enveloped with this cherry blend tobacco, like a pipe smoke. And it kind of startled him. He went to the pile, turned around to see if there was light. and there was nobody there. He walked back, and as soon as he got by that tree, he was enveloped in this smoke. Well, my uncle Jim smoked a cherry blend pipe tobacco,
Wow.
and he ran in. There was no wood in his arm. He was going, I believe you. I believe you. UCLA sent their parapsychologists over to test the house.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, but I felt, and what's interesting, that the next night when we got married, I never saw him again.
Ah.
I think he was there to take care of me until I found another man.
Somebody else took care of it. That's what a lovely story. That's nice.
It was, and I felt very safe with him.
Mm-hmm.
Other people, I mean, we'd be in a conversation in the living room with several people, and all of a sudden this ice cold air would come gushing around us, and everybody would go, what is that? I knew what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very real.
Wow.
And
Well, I got to tell you.
I can't wait to get to the other side and ask.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you've done so
Don't
much.
go
and
anytime soon, please.
I know. And I've, now that we get a chance to talk to you, I understand why you were successful directing children's theater and being an acting teacher at John Robert Powers. You have this wonderful, engaging personality. And what a pleasure it's been to talk to you today.
Thank you. You too.
What I admire about you, Tina, one of the many things, is you throw yourself wholeheartedly into everything, and you have so many talents. And whatever you're attacking, you just attack it. And, and you've been that fierce mom and grandmom and everything. And so if you want to learn more about this wonderful human, her book is called My 3 Lives, and it's on Amazon. You can...
that is a hot picture, if you don't mind me saying so.
Yeah, she's a hottie.
And you know what?
Holy
That
cow.
was taken from the Sacramento Bee on an interview that I did up here when I first started working as Katie.
It's very beautiful.
Thank you. Isn't it? Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
If you were at that age now, you'd be uploading bikini pictures of yourself onto Instagram.
She'd be such a thirst trap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're very kind. I thank you. And you're so much fun.
Well, when you come into town, maybe you and Cam can come over together.
Oh,
We
Wouldn't
can
that be fun?
resurrect
that.
some family stories and
Yeah,
have some
I'll
fun.
sing. I can take a low harmony.
you know what's funny? We went to, Vitello's.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We went there the other night. And there's cutest waiter. Adorable little, and he was Cuban or he was, I don't know, not Argentina. Anyway, he was, somehow we got into, that he had been a member of the LDS church, that my whole family is, and some are no longer practicing. But so Cam said, well, do you know any primary songs? And he started singing a child song, and we all started singing with him.
That's
In the
so
middle
funny.
of Vitello's restaurant, we're singing, I am a child of God. It was so... Cam is really fun.
Cam is so.
We had a great
what I'm
visit
getting
with
is it doesn't take a King family member much to kick off a number.
Oh, no, we sing everywhere.
And what happens anytime you guys are near any body of water?
Oh, it's true. We are in our clothes, fully dressed. We jump in the pool, we jump in the lake, we jump in the ocean. And it's even at some weddings, in their wedding clothes, we've jumped in. It's just, we have done that. Our whole family has done that. Our parents did that. And it just kind of, it's who
What a
we
cool
are.
history.
Everybody in the pool. So.
Your family history's been fascinating. We Cam was here and sort of wet our whistle with it, and it was just a pleasure to talk to you
And
about
that
it.
book of Cam's, wow.
Oh, isn't it beautiful?
Masterpiece.
And the King sisters were a real force to be reckoned with.
Those photographs are some of the most beautiful fashion photographs you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They were
icons.
very unique women,
Icons.
very strong when women weren't
Can you, for
or
me,
allowed to.
because I never knew their individual names, can you, for me, just before we close, go through their individual personalities for us?
Oh, boy. Well, the oldest sister's Maxine.
Right.
And she was quiet. She sewed all their costumes. I think my mom designed them. she sewed them all till Bob Mackey. She didn't want to sing. She got married and didn't want to sing. And that's when they brought my mother, Yvonne, and my Aunt Donna in, and they became the four King sisters in the 30s. Then Louise is next, and she's married to Alvino Ray, the guitarist. And she's very quietly strong. And again, very creative, very determined, steady woman. Alice was next, and she's Cam's mom, and she had that gorgeous alto voice. But she was very emotional. She was a tomboy as a young girl, but very emotional, and she always took to bed over everything. Which Cam gets a lot of that from her. But she lived for a party. That was her thing. But she was really had the best voice. Then Donna, my Aunt Donna was, I think she was, she and Louise were the blends. Donna was never say a bad word about anybody. She was like the balance. And she retired. And then my Aunt Marilyn, the youngest, well, I'll tell you about my mom, but the youngest took over for her. And she was the brassy and very talented, very funny. My mother was so creative, her mind never stopped. And she's the one that thought of the idea for the King family. She's the one that thought of all the numbers that touched people. She had a great sense of humor. She was a gourmet cook. She was a clothing designer. She could decorate. She was an artist. I have wonderful art of hers around the house. She would do trompe l'oeil on the walls. Everything was painted and done. So they were, and when they worked together, they were just amazing. The parties they had, and
when the King sisters sang, was your father? Did your father lead an accompanying orchestra for them, or was he part?
He was in. They met. My mom and dad met in Alvino's orchestra. Actually, they might have met before, but Buddy went with Alvino when they broke off and formed their own. I think from Horace Height, and formed their own orchestra. And my dad was part of that. Yeah, so he was very involved with them. In a lot of their movies, you'll see my dad in the background playing.
Oh, neat. Okay. Well, we'll look for that. Well, we just want to thank you so much, Tina. Your book is wonderful. Highly recommend. Great read. And it's been just a joy speaking with you. And I'm going to read our closing credits. We want to thank our wonderful guest, Tina Cole. Our team includes producer Dina Friedman, John Maddox, Mason Brown, Raf Rusak, Jordan Reyes, Haley Freight, and you. Our theme music is by me and John Maddox. I am Louise Palanker here with Fritz Coleman and Tina Cole. Be well and wise, take good care of each other, and we will see you along the media path.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. You had such a great personality, Tina.